In today's video, we'll be making a compound interest calculator using Google Sheets, which is absolutely free for everybody to use. I already have the layout for the simple interest calculator and the compound interest calculator, and I've taken assumption values, and I'll also link this in the description of this video so that you guys can download it and play along with your own values. Now first we'll do the simple interest calculation and then we'll move on to the compound interest calculation. The principal amount that I've taken is 1 lakh, so you have to be careful that you don't just end up putting commas in the values. It should be just numbers, 1 and 5 zeros. And the interest is 10% and the tenure is 5 years. So in simple interest calculation, when you enter the amount, you don't have to enter it manually. You don't have to type the amount manually. Instead, you have to link the amount to the principal value, so that even when you change the principal value, you don't have to struggle and again change the amount value in the principal column. It will automatically get changed as you enter the principal amount value. And when you drag it down, it should be representing the same value of 1 lakh at every column, right? But it isn't, because at incrementation of each row, it's also considering the value incremented with each row. That is, for the first row, it's taking 1 lakh, and for the second row, it's taking 10%, and for the third row, it's taking 5 years. Now we don't want that to happen, so that is why we are going to absolutely reference the cell of principal amount, which is B1, forever. So we are going to just simply add a $sign before 1. So B and a $sign and 1. So at every step of each row, it will show the same value because the value of B1, the referencing of B1 is not changing. And when it comes to years, the first year is obviously 1, and then for second year, it's the previous year plus 1. Which is the first year plus 1. And because we're using the formula and not manually entering each values, we can just simply draw down the column for all the 5 years. Now since we have 5 years, now it will be easy for us to enter manually also. But just consider if it takes 30 years and 40 years. Formulas are always useful. And the interest for the first year is 10%, which is the interest amount, into the principal value, which is 1 lakh. Now you see, if I enter the principal amount B1 into 10%, you will have the interest amount 10,000. But in case if I had used commas in the values of principal amount, which is B1, then you will get an error, because Excel or Google Sheets, both of them do not read comma values. They only read numerical values. And the amount at the end of the year is the principal amount, which is the amount at the starting of the year plus the interest earned during the current working period. So we are not going to do this manually. Instead, we'll just use up the help of formulas to make things faster. Now you will also be able to see that you cannot fill the interest calculation section just by dragging down the formula, because when the calculation moves one row ahead, even the values considered are moving one row ahead. So for the first calculation, it will be 1 lakh into 10%, but then for the second calculation, it will be 10% into 5 years. And then for the third calculation, it will become 5 years into 0, and that is why you have a 0. Now this is why we use referencing in Excel or Google Sheets, so that the values remain fixed and the calculation is much more efficient and correct. So we're just going to reference the formulas by using $signs, so it will become B$1 into B$2, so that the interest calculation formula remains the same and the values are constant. And after using this one particular formula, if you drag down, then the interest calculation will be correct and you'll get 10,000 at every point. Things work same for the compound interest calculation too for the first year. But then when it comes to the second year, the principal amount is not the same, because the principal amount is the interest amount plus the principal amount of the previous year. So typically the amount at the end of the first year is the starting amount for the second year. And that is why the interest value also changes. So here the principal for the second year becomes 1,10,000, and then the interest calculation is 1,10,000 into 10%, and then you get 11,000. And now the total principal also changes from 1,10,000 to 1,21,000. And this becomes the primary principal for the calculation of interest in the next year. And to calculate the total interest value, we'll use the formula of sum. So it's equal to sum. In brackets, you enter the values, or you just enter the cell numbers of the first cell and the last cell, which contains all your necessary values. So in our case, it is H7 is to H11. So So the interest value comes up to 61,051 rupees, and then the same formula is used to calculate interest for simple interest also. So here in this case it's very easy because you just have to do 10,000 into 5 times, or you can just use the same formula where you will have the interest value of 50,000 rupees. So you guys will be able to find the sheet in the description form. You just have to download it and then play along with your own values. So just subscribe to our channel and stay along so that you don't miss out any important videos. Thank you.